How would you like to make $1 million in real estate next year? Gross commission income. Would that be cool? How would that change your life? Well, let me tell you 6 things that I think are super important that you should be doing right now at year end. This is the perfect time of year to be doing this right now. I was looking back at my results that I've achieved with my coaching clients in the Listing Collective, and I noticed that they all did 6 things. The highest earning listing agents in the Listing Collective all did 6 things that they really just nailed. And I want to just list these things out. So if you want to make a lot of money as a listing agent, consistent money, making 2 to 4, 5, 6 listings per month, if that's what you want to do, take notes, because these are the 6 things that I think are super important. Number 1, the thing that most agents do, and I think this is really, really smart, is to really zero in on one prospecting technique that you can become really good at, that you really master. The biggest problem, I think, is that most listing agents, they're all over the board. You know, sometimes they'll contact their SOI, their sphere of influence. I rarely see anybody building their SOI like we do in the Listing Collective. We have techniques all around that. But, you know, it's sort of like come May, they just sort of like whatever falls into their lap or whatever inspires them at that particular moment or that particular month, you know, they'll do that. The problem is that when you're so scattered in your vision and your strategy, when you're so scattered in the things that you're doing, you're not really becoming good at anything. And that is the biggest thing that I see top earners, top listing agent earners that are doing, is they're really focusing on 1 or 2 marketing strategies to get listings. And then they're going deep, man. They're going hard. And they really become master at those 1 or 2 strategies. So it's really super important that you really identify now, okay, what do you really want to go all in on right now for the next year in 2026? Super important. The other thing, number 2, is to really, to really get good at understanding who the gatekeepers are in your community and really figure out a way to make those your best friends. Okay, what do I mean by gatekeepers? I'm talking about people in your community that really work with high net worth individuals, who are really working with the people that have high net worths and high end properties. So that could be anybody from divorce attorneys, probate attorneys. It could be, retirement home sales managers. That's something that most people don't really focus on. But who are the people in your town that as clients, as professionals, they work with high net worth individuals, and then strategize ways to become best friends with those people, all right? I'm frequently talking about this, on these videos, on my YouTube channel. I'm talking about it in the Listing Collective, is to find these people, because not only, it's a twofold thing, not only can they give you listings for free, all you got to do is find out who they are and start courting them, become their best friend. But the other thing too is it's a great way to build your SOI and figure out different ways that you can increase your average sales price. So for instance, if you're working with a probate attorney and you're working with probates in general, you can cherry pick which listings that you really want to work with. And if you start selecting the ones that are the higher end listings, obviously it's going to increase your average sales price. So super important that you really think about who those gatekeepers are right now in your community that are professionals who work with high net worth individuals. Again, retirement home managers, sales managers for retirement homes, probate attorneys, quite frankly, any kind of attorney that would be working with high net worth individuals. Find the divorce attorneys, find those people in your community and be really strategic about it as well. I think the other thing, number 3, that most people do is really successful high-end listing agents have a why you story. It's like, why me? Why should you select me? okay, as your listing agent. And I think this is the perfect time to really hone in on why you. Fix your why you story. What is it about you that makes you unique? What is it about you that people should go, oh, wow, that's really a great idea, or wow, that's really a cool thing that I can hang my hat on? What sets you apart from other listing agents? You know, one thing that I do all the time is I usually tell real estate sellers that when I'm meeting with them in a listing presentation, whatever, is I always tell them, and I love saying things like, you know, my listing marketing plan is very strategic and it's very active in nature. I'm physically going out into the community, calling people, agents, people in the neighborhood, asking if they know anybody that wants to buy my listing. As opposed to most listing agents just sit around passively and, you know, open houses. They might put an ad on the internet or whatever and just wait for buyers to come to them. So that is an example of one way that you can really stand out and make yourself unique. So what is your story? Why you? Fix your why you story and get really good at talking about it. It could be that you're super passionate about helping sellers achieve their dreams. You know, there's just really, this is something that has to come to you from your heart. And I think it's something that is really super important. Number 4, I think you have to build your follow-up machine. You have to really make sure that your follow-up game is on point, all right? That you have a really good CRM, that you're using a CRM and that you're really putting people in there and you're tagging them as what kind of prospect they are. And then you're tagging them for the future, or I should say tasking them for the future so that nobody falls through the cracks, so that you make sure that you're really following up with everybody. Really think about how you're following up with prospects, how you're following up with professionals, how are you following up with your sphere of influence, past clients, that type of thing. Change it. Be a little bit more aggressive with your follow-up. How can you change that follow-up? The high-end listing agents that are making the most money, their follow-up game is, like I said, on point, because you know the money's in the follow-up. And if you're not following up with people, don't even go out there and door knock or make calls, or don't do any marketing at all, because if you're not going to follow up with these people, why even bother going through the initial step? So that is absolutely certain. That's something that's really important. Number 5 is really to get a thing that really makes you unique. Now, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but what is it about you personally that makes you so unique? All right, give that some thought and make sure that is something that you're advertising, that you're talking about. Like for instance, with my coaching program, my thing is I help listing agents get listings fast without spending money to get them. That's my thing. So I have that in all my marketing. I have the results to prove it, like Tyler on the West Coast that got a $10 million plus listing after working with me for 3 weeks. I help listing agents get listings fast without paying for those listings. So get a thing. And then finally, and this is the most important thing, I've talked about this like ad nauseum. Plan your January. Plan your new year. This is the perfect time that you should be thinking about, okay, what did I do well this year? What did I not do well this year? What are my goals? I'm going to set really high, really exciting and aggressive goals. This is the perfect time of year to be thinking about that. So while everybody else is drinking eggnog and eating gingerbread cookies and sleeping in and taking naps and all that kind of good stuff, you're going to have your next year planned so well that when that happens, January 2nd comes, you are going to be hitting the ground running right out of the gate. And you're going to have a plan. You're going to have a thing. You're going to have one listing source that you're really going to double down on. You're going to fix your for you story. You're going to become an expert at wooing and dating and cultivating gatekeepers. These are all the things that are really not only going to make you stellar in 2026, but these are all the things that I have noticed the similarities with all the people in the Listing Collective that are really killing it out and knocking it out of the park. So take this time of year right now, lay off the eggnog and the gingerbread cookies, spend this time on you, spend this time on your business, and when January hits, you're going to be like amazing. And I can't wait to help you with that. Hit the link down below if you want to just jump on a quick call and talk about how we can implement all this. And I hope that you have an amazing holiday and make sure that your January is killer.